Our portfolio jumped by nearly $100,000 this month, leaving us just $1,000 shy of our all-time high. Seeing 3 monthly jumps in a row is fun, no doubt about it. But the real win is sticking with a system that works no matter what the market's doing. And that's what I want to talk about today. Not only the numbers, but why I make these videos in the first place. I know these videos can rub some people the wrong way. I see it in the higher dislike ratio every month. But I'm genuinely here to help people reach financial freedom, not to post weird flexes for the masses. And that's the why, but let's get into the what. In this one, we'll check out the portfolios, value by holding, all new transactions from June, the dividends received, and whoo, it was juicy, a HODL factory update, and my closing thoughts. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Jeff Teeples, and here we aim to grow your wealth with simple, time-tested solutions. Please belt the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop me a comment below with anything that comes to mind. You know what time it is. Let's grow. My why. I like to keep things light on this channel, but I want to get real with you this month. And just to be clear, I'm not looking for a gold star here. I don't think I'm owed anything. But when I say I'm here to help you reach financial freedom, I really do mean it. This isn't some clickbaity tagline to work the YouTube algorithm. The truth is, I got off to a rough start in life. This isn't part of some polished comeback story, it's just what happened. I didn't have a non-warehouse job that paid more than minimum wage until I was 28 years old. I wasn't always the guy on camera that you see today. But I got focused. I got good at what I did, and over time, I was promoted and poached and eventually found myself in a corner office earning $170,000 a year with a great team around me. Life was good. But the deeper I got into investing, the more my wife and I saw the light. We didn't wake up one day with a healthy portfolio. It took discipline, consistency, and all the things we talk about on the channel. I left that job, honest to God, because I had a burning passion to share how simple this can be. I'm here to help the old me, and that's it. That's why I do this. And yeah, showing my portfolio publicly isn't ideal, but I know firsthand that seeing this stuff is what helps it stick. If someone like the old me sees the full journey year after year, it becomes real. It eliminates excuses and it proves that this stuff works in the real world. We get enough theory out there from a lot of the other channels. That's what this channel is really about. And now, let's check out the portfolio. Portfolio overview. You know the drill by now. Let's take a quick look at the tracking spreadsheet that ties everything together. This is the same spreadsheet that I use every week, and you're welcome to use it too. There's a link in the description if you want to make a copy and tweak it to your situation. We'll start out in E-Trade as we do every month if you've been around these videos. And I'm going to say right away, I'm recording this on 7/8/2025, Tuesday, close of business. So this has 2 additional days compared to the spreadsheet that are as of the end of Friday. For a quick review, all brokerage accounts is my traditional IRA, which are all rollover IRAs for my 3 former employees, our taxable account, and my Roth IRA, and now my wife's Roth IRA. We got the power of attorney. So this is everything outside of M1 Finance, and we'll get into that after this section. But this does include the majority of our investments. And you'll notice our SCHD position remains at 15,000 shares, and our target allocations have us not buying that one right now, and we'll get into that later in the video. At our average cost of $24.67, there's been a lot of move around of this. This is definitely not my historical average cost. It would be a lot lower than this. And a value of $410,000. VGT is still our second largest holding with 500 shares. Average cost of $246.50. And you can see we've done pretty well on this one. The total gain's 172%, and it's worth $335.6K. And then JEPQ, and this is all of our JEPQ because this is housed in my Roth and my wife's Roth. So we now officially see everything. This will match Seeking Alpha on the aggregate. 1,890 shares at a very high average cost. We moved these over in December from QQQM right before everything crashed at $57.80. And you can see the holdings themselves are down 6.3%, but our total gain with dividends is about 10%, I believe. This is just price here on E-Trade. Snowball Analytics has the real scoop. And the value is $102,343. Our money market here has $82,600, and don't forget about this $53.99. This is the high yield savings account basically, and the money market, and I combine them in Seeking Alpha. Our IBIT, we're still sitting on our 1,000 shares, a nice juicy $35.80 average cost, and it's up to $61,820. This holding right here is my nephew's S&P 500 fund. This will be rolled over to his own in November when he turns 18. And SCHG is my new position, and you can see very new here, clearly, with 50 shares. That's up a few from last time, and it's worth $1,459. So with my nephew's help here at $4,000, we actually eclipsed the $1 million mark. So maybe I won't boot him out. He's making me look good. But now let's jump over to where everything rolls up. We bounced out to Seeking Alpha where we roll everything up. And as always, I do have an affiliate link for Seeking Alpha. It's not a sponsor, but if you're interested in trying it out for free for 7 days, check out the pinned comment below. If you like what you see, you'll save money, which is the most important thing, on your first full year, and it'll help support the channel. I really do love it. You know, you can see I clearly use it. I do all my HODL factory screens in here, all stock and ETF research. It's very clean, much like E-Trade, and much unlike Fidelity. And it's a great tool, you guys. It really is. Oh, and I forgot, this is my first video since I made my cleanup. Okay, so if you've been here for a while, you might be a little confused right now. I had this forever broken in kind of strangely. I've changed this. Instead of the platform, I put it by the like ETFs, and this helps me see how I'm doing compared to the market each day at a glance. I can see my HODL factory today, wow, was way up. I'm just looking at this. And the market was down 0.07, interesting. And then our ETF mix was up 0.64. I used to have it a little goofy on the split, like some cash was in E-Trade, and that didn't make sense because it weighed down performance. So anyway, looking at our ETFs here, and I'll sort them by value. So everything should be the same as we just saw, you know, SCHD, VGT, here's the same amount of shares, same value. We won't rehash all of this. And you'll notice that VUG is also in this one because it is an ETF that I do include in my target allocations as growth in my main portfolio of ETFs that's trying to outperform the market over time. And you can see that the HSA, which is where VUG is 42,199. And a quick note, if I could get VGT or SCHG instead of VUG, I would. This is just the best available option within that platform, Health Equity. So I'll go ahead and close this one though, because we've seen this. And of course, the huge elephant in the room here is VU, and this is the wife's 401k. So she's still actively adding to this, and we max it. This will be rolled over someday and then converted to Roth. I'll make plenty of videos on that as we grow together over the years. But it is currently worth $476,000. So we're pounding about $1,400, I think, every other weekend of that bad boy. And it's growing very, very well. And then the HODL factory, which I will have a video exclusively covering soon, so we won't get too deep on this one. This is my best friend Hutch and my individual stock portfolio, dividend growth stocks that we aim to beat the market in performance and to out dividend grow and perform SCHD and DGRO. We'll get into all that in the video, but it's been really good lately. We've had some cool changes, and it's sitting at $23,480. And this is my YouTube money, by the way. So shout out to all of you out there. And then cash equivalents I now have together. I have some, so in here they're both VMFXX to save confusion and to make it cleaner. But this one here is my E-Trade one, the $90,000. And this one up here is other HSAs and everything. I just roll it into one holding. So this is actually scattered a little bit more, but it's $38,574. But when you add all those bad boys together, the portfolio is sitting at $1,582,000. And this is actually a little lower than we're about to see on the spreadsheet. The market went down on Monday quite a bit. Bounced back a little today, as you can see here, but I'm still down overall. Okay, now we're out to the portfolio tracking spreadsheet where all the magic happens. So put your hands together, nerds, and let's get down and dirty. And if you're a normal person, just pretend like you enjoy what's going on here. This is where I plug in the weekly value of each holding as of Friday, once again. And I should mention, I've had a couple of you email me. First of all, I think it's really cool that you track your portfolio with this spreadsheet. It's really rewarding to see that and really neat. The reason I don't include the shares here, because you can, Excel has the stock function, and I do it in some other ones. I could make a column and have shares, and that way it would auto update. I like just punching in the weekly value and seeing the change. It only takes me 2 minutes. I know this could be more efficient, but it's just kind of fun. I guess I'm just weird like that. But anyway, here's all the figures that we just saw. It's the cash, it's some different cash sources as I was mentioning earlier, but when you add it all together, it's the same as we just viewed. And really what this does is it gives us our total of 1.587 million. And I gotta just show this real quick before we go to our target allocation, which is what really matters. But check this out. We were so close to an all-time high. So back in December, we hit 1.588, and this time we hit 1.587. And so just under, it looks like, or excuse me, just over 1,000 off of our all-time high. And I should mention our investments are up a good 60K. That's that new family car and the Roth conversion taxes. So remember, I include everything in here, including cash. So life stuff matters. Our investments are rocking a nice all-time high. But when you come to our target allocations, this is what really matters. And this is truly what I look at when I make purchasing decisions. And I'll just give you a quick example before I dive in. I saw that growth is officially behind value at 24% of my portfolio compared to the 25.8% of value, which is SCHD for me. So when I went to reinvest some dividends, I put most into cash because I'm still light on cash where I like to be. And then I bought SCHG just yesterday instead of SCHD because I'm light on growth. So this really drives my decisions here. I like an equal mix of value and growth. And this cornerstone is VU. That's the wife's 401k. We can't control it because I'm not bringing in my big paycheck anymore. So we're not going to see these keep up with this. There's just no way. So what I really do is just balance out the growth and value because they roughly make a VU-like mix from a value perspective. And you can see our individual holdings. VU is our largest by far and away, and then SCHD. And then you have VGT here in growth. You also have VUG, that HSA in growth. And then you have the new one, SCHG. And I've made multiple videos on it, but if you're wondering why I went from VGT to SCHG with new dollars, it's just because I want to tech down a little bit. I'm a huge tech bro, but at 21% of my portfolio being 100% tech, I still get the 50% tech coverage here with a little more broad growth coverage. So I want to splice these together with split dollars over the years. And my HODL stocks are up to 1.5%. I like that. And IBIT's sitting at about 4%. My rule with Bitcoin is I like to keep it between 3 and 5%. The HODL doesn't have a target allocation. This is just YouTube money. So you guys are helping me go to the moon if you're still watching right now. I appreciate it. And then cash flow is JEPQ, and that's in the Roth. It feeds kind of the other mix. And cash, we usually have at 10%. We've been light after the car purchase and the Roth taxes. And again, my lack of incomes. It's getting harder and harder to keep cash at 10%. Don't have 2 kids and don't have a mortgage. That's my advice. No, I'm kidding. But really, we've been a little cash poor lately. For context, in my taxable account, in my traditional IRA, I've reinvested SCHD dividends and money market dividends back into money market, and all new cash goes into the money market. In the Roth, I invest in JEPQ or just the mix, like SCHG this month. So the Roth, I kind of just go ham. But we've been trying to get cash back up there over the past few months. But yeah, the target allocations are looking pretty good right now. And oh man, the nerdism. Okay, 2 more things to show you. One, here's our value by month. And you can see that we're rocking an all-time high of an average portfolio update. Now this is in July, so this is technically the new one. June has all of them. This has like the 5 data points here. We're still at a very solid 1.525. And so far in July, which this video is not about, but technically Friday hit this one, we're at an all-time high monthly average of 1.587. So hopefully we keep that ball rolling. I just like this to see over time, just to chill, relax. Everything's going to be okay when we have crashes like 2022, for example. But this is what I'm excited to show you guys. So we always come out here, and I'll just quickly recap this. Otherwise, this video is going to be about 48.5 minutes. But this, I always start today, and I actually changed it to start date. It used to say DOB for date of birth. I finally fixed that because I was tired of it. This used to be age, but as you can see now, it's years. But anyway, we assume an 8% nominal return. The historical average is 10%. Remember, this is nominal. This does not include inflation yet. So this is about a 5% real return on my assumption. I have some markups, and I've talked about it in the past. I won't rehash here. We've kind of settled on 2.5 being our sweet spot for retirement. I mean, we'll see. You never know. Here's our contributions, and this rolls into our monthly. So it plays into all these numbers, growing at 8%, contributing this much a month, current values, whatever the snapshot is. So these are ever changing. But this thing is really, really neat, you guys. I made this dynamic. So what this does is you put in your target goal for retirement, and I put in 2.5 million. Now, I have actually been tracking with this tool for 3.5 years, and my lifetime CAGR is 17.03%. Now, that's literally taking our current value and then as the essentially future value as far as the logic is concerned, and our first value, the oldest one, as our present value, and then it runs the rate of return. I don't want to go into all the nerdy math, but it's accurate, and it's 17.03%. And again, this includes our contributions. It doesn't mean our investments have averaged going up by this CAGR. And then if that continues, it probably won't, but this is using what data is already in here. We have 2.9 years till we hit the 2.5 million, and it shows an estimated retirement date for the wife of 5/27/2028. Again, this will change drastically as we make updates. If the market crashed, this timetable would push forward. But this is really neat because it takes real data, nothing made up at all, exactly what's happened, all things considered. You get credit for driving 2 Honda Civics like me for 20 years. That literally adds into this because it includes cash and everything but my house. But yeah, 2.9 years remaining. So this is going to be an exciting one to track. Let's shift gears to see where all that new money was flowing this month. Portfolio contributions. As always, we fully fund my wife's 401k and her HSA each year. Those are on autopilot at this point. My YouTube income, which averages about $1,000 a month, goes straight into the HODL factory via M1 Finance, and that continues to grow consistently. I'll be sharing the quarterly HODL factory update very soon. We had some solid changes this last quarter in our meeting, and I think you're really going to like this one. I genuinely am really more excited about it now than I've ever been. But now, let's take a look at the new transactions. We're out on the monthly transaction spreadsheet, and you can see that I've selected the year 2025 here with the slicer, and we're in June. And just starting at the top here with the HODL factory, this is again where my YouTube money goes. I've said that multiple times. I do $100 every week, and there were 5 weeks in June. So that is 500 of these dollars. And then the 6th one was an extra special contribution of $1,000. And that was YouTube money that I actually saved. I have a high yield savings there within M1. And we got to the point where I was comfortable moving 1,000 over. So stepping up my game a little with the HODL factory at 1,500 this month. And then JEPQ, we purchased 5 shares, and that was just reinvested from JEPQ dividends in early June. SCHG, a similar concept. This was reinvested dividends from JEPQ for $846. And this was my first 30 shares. You might have noticed I had, I think, 50 on the, I bought some yesterday as well. Same concept, but it's early July, so it's not here yet. So no new money besides YouTube. And then VIGIX is the technical holding. This is essentially VUG, what I use to track it. This is the wife's HSA, and it looks like we got $656 worth. This is sort of all over the map. It depends on what we pay, because we use it to pay medical bills. I know the pros and cons of that, but this won't be the same every time. Whereas VU, we do exactly half of this. It's like 14, 16, whatever the math is there. Every other week, it's like clockwork. So there were 2 contributions to VU for a total of $2,800. That bought us 5.18 shares at an average cost of $5.46. So when you add it all together with these new dollars being right almost 5,000 and then our reinvested dollars from that juicy Roth with the JEPQ, we had a total of about $6,100 of contributions. I'll take it. It's time to move on to everyone's favorite section. Dividends received. We hit a ridiculous all-time high for dividend income in June. Like way out there. Check this out. Okay, everyone, relax. Everyone calm down. This looks absolutely incredible, and it is, but there's a little noise in the data, so let's dive into this thing. You can see that in June of 2025, we had $5,934 of dividends. That's juicy, period. And last year we only had 1,427. But when we open her up, there's a culprit. SCHD last year paid in July. See that right there. So this is not necessarily apples to apples, but let's run through it because we do have some good stuff here. JEPQ, you can see, really stepped its game up with $1,164 of dividends compared to the $733 last year. And then our HODL factory, this has been fun to see, you guys. I know a lot of it's new contributions. I'm not sitting here saying my dividend growth rate's 938%, but $35 of dividends, and my growth rate really is over 20%. That's not exaggerated. $35 compared to a measly $13.43 of last year. Again, the SCHD, actually, you know what? Let's just do this. Last year here in July was $3,556, and I'm going to close this. This year we had $3,903, so a little better there. And then VGT, same concept last year, not even worth looking, $351. VIGIX, $48 compared to $37. The money market, we were heavy in that last year compared to other cash, so this is a little goofy, but $287 compared to last year's $505. QQQM, that's now JEPQ, we've explained that and why, because we're nearing retirement. In the Roth, the high yield savings accounts, a variety of them get 144 this year, so you can kind of add these two together in your head. And SCHG, alert the press, 84 entire cents. Ooh, baby. But yeah, you add it all together and we're at $59.34. And after July, it'll be nice to take the sum of these against the sum of these to see our real growth. You know, the whole SCHD being legitimately in both. But if you look, we're halfway through the year and we're already at $18,950. And I do have a dividend projecting spreadsheet and Snowball Analytics that agree this should be over 40 grand. Generally speaking, you can kind of see here, December gets pretty big and things compound. So we're not quite on that pace, but I think we will sniff and probably exceed 40 grand. Dividends are great and all, but the real scorecard is portfolio performance. Let's see how we stacked up in June. Portfolio performance. We finally beat that pesky market, but it didn't make it easy. Let's see how things shook out in June. All right, we're out on my favorite, and I'm not kidding you guys, by far and away my favorite portfolio tracker, Snowball Analytics. I gotta tell you, and I do have a link just like Seeking Alpha. It's the only two things I ever promote. Not sponsored, affiliate links. It does help if you sign up, blah, blah, blah. But seriously, at least give this one the free trial. And oh man, just today I got an email. I've been looking for a good way to get dividend increases, like the ex-dividend date, the declaration date, and things like that for my HODL factory stats in one clean place. And Snowball Analytics now has that. They added a lot of feature to the mobile. Just give it a look. It's pretty cool. But again, as I'm sitting here blabbing, I have been blabbing in this video, so I'm not going to touch every single thing I normally do. And I'm going to be very quick with the HODL factory because I'm making a specific video soon. So this will be a brush by compared to usual. But you can see the portfolio value, and this may not perfectly align. It should be close. Some timing things, goofy things, stuff like that, is at that 1.582 basically million. And our total profits, 514,000. The internal rate of return, just like the annualized return of the lifetime of everything it can track. And that includes cash, so it can drag it down a little. 16.25%, not too bad. bad. Passive income right there at 2.6%, and the overall dividend CAGR is at 7.4. I'd say that's pretty healthy. Oh, and here's that annual I was talking about, 40,940. Okay, now I'm on analytics and I went out to growth, and it looks like I have VU selected still last time. But this is a cool module right here because this portfolio value, it includes your contributions. And let me scroll down so you can actually see what I'm doing here. It includes your contributions and the growth and everything. So it's just saying if you put every dollar into VU instead of all the things you did, you would be at this instead of that. And unfortunately, I don't have my whole history. I'm a lot more ahead than this because I do track that on my spreadsheets, but I could only plug in so much data on this thing. But it's pretty cool. Oh, and I don't know why we're in all. Let's look year to date. We're going to go year to date, and we're going to put stocks and ETFs because we shouldn't count our cash when we're comparing equities. So you can see that year to date, the portfolio is behind VU by 0.81% overall. And that is quite a big dollar difference of $11,700 of portfolio value. And you can see here in June, we made up a little ground. I just put in June 1st through June 30th. So it really balanced things out here, but we just did beat it there at the end. We made up about $3,000 here. But this portfolio performance, this is just strictly the total profit. You can see right there at the tooltip. It'll just be the percentage up and down. And you can see year to date, we're losing to the market by just under 1%, it looks like. Not too horrible. And if we go back to our June timeframe, which is what we're talking about in this video, we're actually ahead 5.06 to 4.86. Nothing to write home about, but we did outperform the market. And you can see we sort of did it right here at the end of the month too. And then one other way to look at it, similar information, you can see month by month. We'll just go to June here. And it's the same numbers, but you can just see the little bars here. We outperformed it by just a little bit. And so far in July, we're actually thumping it pretty good by almost a percentage. I mean, it's pretty early. I'm sitting here at July 8th, close of market. Don't get too excited, but looks like we're performing pretty well. Okay, and then scrolling down to the holdings performance, I like this one. I like it in the heat map mode because it just gives perspective on the scale of everything in the portfolio. And I'm on year to date. We all know, oh, you might not be able to, I'm going to scroll this down as much as I can here. You lost our year to date. You'll just have to trust me. But this is, you can see VU's up 6.5%. Just VU itself. SCHD has been tough on us. VGT's helped carry the load a little. IBIT's done well at 16%. VIGIX has been roughly with the market. And then JEPQ's been disappointing. It's been behind the market. It and VU were in a deadlock after 3 years. So JEPQ, as many of us know, started to struggle a little bit by comparison in April of 2025. And it hasn't quite bounced back yet. But I like this view because it shows just how ETF heavy I really am. And you get down here, these are all the HODL Factory stats. And the HODL Factory's done well. I'll get into that. And some have lost money, some have made money, you know, but it's just I like seeing this overarching view. Oh, and I just left and I came back. I forgot to actually look at June, the reason we're actually here. So you see the market was solid at 4.8%. We saw that above. SCHD is improving, but it still was a bit of a drag in June at 2.3%. VGT really carried the load, and it's a big chunk of the portfolio, as you can see, at 9.5%. And then JEPQ, little behind the market still. And IBIT, little rough, but we saw year to date, it's been the best. And then VIGIX is pretty consistent. I've been happy with that one. And again, we'll cover the HODL Factory in lots of detail coming soon. And I'm just going to touch on this tab, the metrics tab, pretty quickly this month. I like to show this though because I genuinely do feel like I'm well positioned with my portfolio holdings, and it's not random. I mean, there's a reason I hold what I hold. My PE ratio is just below the markets at 24.7%. And my beta, my volatility, you want this lower, is under the market, which is 1, at 0.95%. So very close to the market, but you know, it says the same here, but a little better technically, a little less volatile, I should say. Standard deviation, I guess, isn't technically quote unquote bad, but a little more consistent while also having the risk adjusted returns. The Sharp and the Sortino you want higher, and you can see compared to SPY it uses, that's just the ticker it puts in there, at 0.98 on the Sharp, we're all the way up at 1.12, and then on the Sortino it's at 1.656, and you want this above 2 apparently, according to this, and we're way up there at 2.044. So we get these high risk adjusted returns with a lower beta, and I think that's very important. That's why I'm always preaching balance in all markets, no matter what. Sometimes everyone's screaming buy nothing but growth, you're crazy, and then as soon as it crashes, oh, you didn't have SCHD? Ha, sucker. It's like, you know what? Just always have both of them. All right, we've seen the numbers, the contributions, the dividends, the whole picture. And since we already got a little deep in this one, let me bring it home. Your turn. You really can do this, and you have everything you need to be successful right now. No more excuses, no more waiting. Let's freaking grow. And before we get out of here, I gotta give a huge shout out to our brand new member. Thank you so much to You Know It 158 for joining the channel membership. I really appreciate my support. It is genuinely my favorite kind, but of course, always optional. Thank you for going above and beyond. And check out one of these two videos to continue down your path towards financial freedom. Remember, money is overrated. Freedom is not. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.